Alrighty, guys, gals, non-binary pals, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Super excited about what we're going to be talking about today. Before we get into it, I do want to say if I seem a little bit off, there's been some stuff going on with my family, so I would appreciate some nice thoughts and stuff. I don't really want to go into detail, but that's why I haven't been uploading as much, and I might seem a little weird in this video, but I just wanted to address that, and yeah. Let's get into the video. Today we're going to be talking about Alison Hammond, who, if you're not familiar with who that is, I understand. So she is a co-host of this show in the UK called This Morning, which if you're from America, it's very similar to the Today Show from what I've seen online.
A song. I think I'll Be Home for Christmas is a great song. What's your favorite Christmas song?
Would you mind if it's not one of yours?
Of course not.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
There is a segment where they basically have part of the audience will ask a question to the people that are in the show, and there was a question that was asking about, someone had a question about their daughter, they're a teenager, and they're trying to lose weight, and they were just asking about that. Now, Allison is someone that has been struggling with her weight basically her whole life, and she had quite the experience live on the show while this was happening, and I thought it was very, very interesting. It raises a ton of questions, a ton of conversations, and so in this video we're gonna watch that video, but this is not me trying to solve anything. This is me just trying to share my thoughts and my opinions on the subject, and then honestly I want to hear what y'all think as well. So without further ado, let's watch that video. So this is the video right here, and in the bottom corner it says, I'm worried about my daughter's eating habits, and they kind of elaborated that, you know, she's overweight and they're worried about her, right? And so this is the video right here.
I'd just say something, because obviously I've had, see I'm getting upset. Yeah. I've had obesity all my life. Yeah. And what it is your regulation system is out of whack. So
right here, I think it's interesting the way that she phrases it, where she says, I've had obesity. So for those that might not know, if more in like the medical field, they're trying to push the fact that obesity is a disease instead of like, you know, you're obese, you have obesity. And so she kind of brings that up. I think it's interesting because a lot of people there's a lot of pushback against that type of framing around it, like claiming that it's a disease. Because I think a lot of people, they get upset because then it feels like it takes the responsibility away from the person, which will be a big theme with this whole video and this whole conversation. But I wanted to bring that up in case you have never heard someone say, I have obesity.
obviously, you can't control wanting to eat all the time and stuff like that. And I think a lot of people don't realise that obesity is a disease. You can't help wanting to eat all the time. Sorry, I get.
So right here, she says that you can't help wanting to eat all the time, and obviously everyone is different. Everyone's going to have different hormones. They're going to have different like levels of hunger. Some people are going to be really hungry. Some people aren't going to be that hungry. But I can say when I was, struggling with obesity, I was definitely more hungry than I am now. I don't know the science. I don't know. Everyone's different, but I can say now that I've had the weight off for, close to 10 years, I don't struggle with being as hungry. I'm not thinking about food all the time, but I know because I went through it that it is incredibly difficult. Like, I talk about losing weight, and I always say it's simple, but that doesn't mean that it's easy, because just eating less, yeah, that sounds really easy for someone that has never been obese or has struggled with wanting to eat all the time. And if you have never been there, it's so hard to understand someone's struggle. And I know that there are probably people watching this video that hear this and they're like, oh my God, whatever, you're being a crybaby, you need to get over it, right? If it was that simple, like, let's really think about this, right? If losing weight was as simple as everyone claims that it is, right? And when I say simple, I'm saying like simple and easy, right? If it was really that easy, would this many people be struggling with it? Obviously not. So I think that hearing what people are struggling with and listening to what they have to say and not just automatically dismissing them is really important to actually help the vast majority of people. Am I saying that there's nothing you can do about, like, being obese? Obviously not. I don't think that. But I also can see that it's not as simple as just lose weight, LOL. Right? That's my opinion, though.
Sorry, because I just think people look down on people just because they're so big and they can't actually help it when you've actually got a disease, which is obesity, and you're regulation system is out of whack.
What would you say to her daughter? What would be your sentence to her?
She needs help. I think NHS needs to see it as more as a disease.
I know.
So this is interesting right here. I know I always say this is interesting, but whatever, okay? But so they start talking about the NHS, which if you're not familiar, I think it's National Health Service or something. I don't know. I'm not from the UK, obviously, but it's their universal healthcare, right? Which we don't have in America. So it's interesting because they kind of bring this up, right? When if you're talking about this subject in America, it's not even a thought, right? Because we don't have that. And so I thought that was interesting, but that's another argument I've heard of people that are against, like a universal healthcare for everyone, is because they're like, well, all of these people that are obese are going to, clog up the system and they're going to make it, super expensive for everybody else, and it's not fair, right? Which I think is an interesting point of view. But yeah, so that's kind of what they're talking about here when they bring up the NHS.
People help people who are anorexic, but they don't help people who are overweight. And that's why so many people turn to surgery and things like that, because we don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So, and then she brings up surgery. And so I was doing a little bit of research, and I was getting some help with some research on Allison. And apparently she actually got the lap band, and she had it for a few years. And she ended up removing it because she only lost, I think, 14 pounds in like 2 years, which is really not very much at all, especially if you're getting a surgery. If you're not familiar with the lap band, it's basically, they don't really do it as much anymore, but it's something that you put around, it's either around your stomach or the tube that goes into your stomach. I forget exactly. It basically makes it, so it's hard to eat a lot of food. I actually almost ended up getting a lap band when I was in 10th grade. I've talked about this before, but they were doing like a trial for, overweight or obese teenagers or, under 18, kids under 18. And I remember I almost got it. I didn't because I don't like surgery, and so it still scared me. And I just remember thinking, one of the things that they said that made me be like, I don't know about this, was they're like, if you have the lap band, you really can't have any carbonated drinks, and your boy likes soda. And so I said, I don't know about this. But so I never ended up getting it, but that's what the lap band is. So she apparently has tried surgeries. And again, that's another thing that I think is interesting. A lot of people think that surgery is the end all be all. You get surgery, bam, you're good to go. It's not the case. We have seen many, many people get surgeries and still fail, right? Get the surgeries, lose a little bit of weight, and then gain it all back. Because especially with a lot of the surgeries, you can end up stretching your stomach back out. You can end up just eating so much food still that it doesn't even matter. So surgery isn't even just the definite answer, right? And so it's just not that simple.
Sorry. I know, and I just think so because I've had it before. People are waiting years on these waiting lists. I think it's a dreadful thing that the NHS is not. If they're not extending the help, and people have got to be so ill before they get the support they need. I agree.
But you know what, Al?
So she brings up the fact that, you have to wait a really long time if you're, on the waiting list for the NHS because, it's like the people that are really, really sick that need care immediately that get put in the front of the line. Again, I'm just taking her word for it. I obviously have no experience with that. I think that that's really interesting. For me, I really struggle with thinking that we need to go to doctors and those are the people that need to solve this for people. Now, I think that they can help, obviously, but I think that there's so much more to losing weight than just going to a doctor and being like, I need you to fix me, right? Like, there's so much that goes into it, psychologically, mentally, your habits, what you're doing day to day. All of those things lead you to being obese, not being obese, as well as, hormones, as well as, especially women with PCOS, with all, those are all valid things that lead you to be the size that you are, right? And so all I'm saying, I'm not saying that doctors can't help, but I don't think that they are the number one answer here, and that we should just be like, go to the doctor and they'll figure it out for you, because I just don't think it's that simple, is what I'm trying to say. I hope that makes sense.
Like
just you opening up like that, maybe that girl's watching.
She's watching you.
It's so hard. People don't realise.
No, they don't. Oh,
I'm so sorry.
So that's the video right there, and honestly, I don't like watching people cry. I've talked about that before on the channel. I can only imagine what that would feel like, especially being someone that is larger, that is in the public eye. Like, she's been doing this for a really long time, apparently. Like, I can understand that would be hard for her, and she's probably dealt with people saying that you just need to lose weight or you just need to do this. And obviously she's tried and she's still struggling. And so, like, that's why when I see stories like this, and like I hear stories from so many of you guys that watch the videos, it's clear that it's not just LOL, stop eating. Like, that's not the answer, right? And it might be the answer for some people, but that's not the answer for everybody. And I think it's important to like, let's try and have a little bit more nuance and have a little bit more discourse and try and figure out what is really going on instead of just telling people stop being lazy and stop eating as much. To end the video, I just wanted to share my thoughts on obesity and kind of like my role, I guess, and what I'm trying to play here, what I'm trying to do here on the channel. So I completely empathize with what Allison is going through and what she said, and I don't at all for a second discredit what she's been through. I think it's really important to listen to what people are struggling with and try and figure out why it is they're struggling so much. Do I believe that if you have obesity or if you're obese, whichever way you want to frame it, do I think that you are helpless and you need the help of an outside entity? I don't know. It's really hard to say. Do I think that you are completely helpless and that you have no options? I can speak from my own experience that I think that you're not, right? But I can't speak for anybody else. But what I can do is, share these videos, share my story, tell people that, share the information that helped me, as far as TDEE, understanding how many calories you're eating, understanding all the really basics of nutrition. That stuff really helped me a lot, and it helped me get out of that cycle. So I do believe that it is possible to break the cycle, but just because I did it, that doesn't make me think that anyone else needs to do it exactly the same way that I have. So if that means you get a surgery, if that means you go to counseling, whatever it might be, like any step that you need to take to figure it out, I'm all for that, right? I completely believe in that. And so, like, that's where I'm at. I'm not sitting here trying to judge anyone. I'm not sitting here trying to tell everyone they need to do it exactly like me. But I am also going to share my story and share my journey and share the things that help me to hopefully help other people. If it doesn't help someone, that sucks and I'm sorry, but hopefully it does help someone out there, right? And from the comments that I get and the messages I receive, apparently I have helped people, and that makes me really happy. And so those are my thoughts. I am genuinely curious, and that's what I'm trying to say in this video. I'm not saying I have an answer. I hope I've made that clear. I want to hear what everyone else thinks. I think that this is a really interesting topic and one that gets brushed over quite a bit. So I would love to know what you think. So please leave a comment in the comment section. I would love to see some discourse, and hopefully it's kind discourse, but I would love to see what y'all think in the comment section down below. Again, I appreciate your patience, and thank you so much for watching the video, and I'll see you next time. Peace.